Imagine running inside the top 5 at the Coca-Cola 600 in the most grueling, demanding race on the entire NASCAR calendar, not as a seasoned Cup veteran, not as a multi-champion, but as a road course specialist who everyone, and I mean everyone, told couldn't cut it on ovals. Tonight, Shane Van Gisbergen didn't just show up at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he put the entire Cup Series on notice. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation News is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. Let's set the stage here. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the 67th running of the Coca-Cola 600, 500 miles of pure endurance, tire wear, fuel strategy, traffic management, the whole brutal package. And because qualifying got rained out, Shane Van Gisbergen lined up third on the grid, third at Charlotte. Now look, I know some of you are already saying it's just a starting position. Stick with me, because that context matters more than you think. Here's the thing about SVG on ovals. The guy has been fighting an uphill battle since the moment he stepped into the Cup Series. His best oval finish? A 6th at Atlanta earlier this year. He's got one other top 10, a 10th at Kansas last fall. That's it. 2 oval top 10s in his entire Cup career on a track type that he openly admits doesn't come naturally to him. So when that number 97 Trackhouse Chevrolet stayed planted inside the top 5 through the early laps at Charlotte, that wasn't just impressive. That was a statement. Stage 1 ends. SVG is running 10th. Not bad. Stage 2 ends. He's 9th. Better. Stage 3 ends 7th, and he's banking 5 bonus stage points in the process. The guy is not just surviving out there, he is racing, and there is a massive difference between those two things. Now, here's where it gets real interesting, because this is the moment that had the whole garage talking late in that final stage. Crew Chief Stephen Doran makes the call. Stay out, don't pit. Gamble on older tires and take track position while everybody else dives into pit road. And you know what? It worked. Shane Van Gisbergen led laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 11 of them. Let that sink in for a second. A guy who'd never been a legitimate top 5 threat on an oval before was leading the Coca-Cola 600. This is not some fuel mileage trick. This is not a fluky caution. He stayed out, he held off a charging field on worn tires, and he led for 11 laps. That's real. But here's where it gets complicated, because this is NASCAR and nothing in this sport is ever clean. Rain was already threatening on the horizon. There were chaotic restarts. There was a sluggish pit stop that cost him valuable track position. And through the mess of it all, SVG slipped back to 11th. 11th. After being that close, after running that strong, he told reporters after the race exactly how he felt about it. And I respect him for saying it straight. He was, quote, pissed. Not upset, not disappointed, pissed. Because he knew, and the data backs him up, that this was a top 5, maybe even a top 6 car on the night. The execution just wasn't there at the end, and the NASCAR community absolutely noticed. Fans have been flooding social media pointing out what the finish line result doesn't capture. That this was legitimately the best oval performance of Shane Van Gisbergen's Cup Series career. Not the best finish number, mind you. The best performance, big difference. Now let's talk about why this matters beyond just one race result, because this is huge for the bigger picture. Going into Charlotte, SVG was sitting right on the playoff bubble, right on it. After that 11th place finish and those stage points he collected, he jumped 2 positions in the standings. He is no longer on the bubble. He bought himself breathing room, and that changes everything about how Trackhouse Racing approaches the next few weeks. When you're sweating the bubble, you take risks, you gamble on strategy, you drive with desperation. Now, SVG and crew chief Stephen Doran can race with a little more confidence, and a little more confidence in this sport can be the difference between a playoff berth and watching October from the couch. What struck me most watching his post-race comments wasn't the frustration, it was the excitement. He kept coming back to one word, fun. He said it was fun to run up front, fun to rip the top of the track and make moves as the tires wore down on the longer runs. That is the language of a driver who is figuring it out, not one who got lucky. One who is genuinely learning what his car can do on ovals and starting to translate that into results. Think about where he was 6 months ago, struggling to stay in the top 15 on most oval tracks, running in the shadows while his Trackhouse teammate Daniel Suarez was getting all the headlines. And now Suarez wins the Coca-Cola 600 in the rain. But SBG spent the night making the argument that he belongs right there with him, on the same stage, at the same tracks. The oval learning curve for Shane Van Gisbergen has been one of the most fascinating storylines in NASCAR this season. And after Charlotte, after leading laps at one of the most demanding tracks on the schedule, I genuinely believe we are watching the corner get turned in real time. He's not just a road course guy anymore. He's becoming a NASCAR driver, and that is a very dangerous thing for the rest of this field. So here's the question I want you to answer down in the comments. And I want real talk, no soft answers. Is Shane Van Gisbergen a legitimate playoff contender by the end of this season, or does he still have too many oval tracks on the schedule standing between him and a consistent top 10 run? Drop your take down below. I read every single comment on this channel. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to NASCAR Nation News, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We are just getting started, and the NASCAR season, it's only heating up. I'll see you in the next one.